Creating a customizable and adjustable shelving system for a box fan starts with selecting appropriate materials. Aluminum square tubes are suitable for the uprights and beams, providing a strong and lightweight framework. Angle brackets facilitate secure connections between the tubes. Plywood or metal sheets serve as the shelving surfaces, offering a balance of affordability and durability. Bolts, nuts, and washers are essential for assembling and securing all components. The first step involves planning the layout. Determine the required size, shape, and number of shelves based on storage needs. Accurately measure the interior dimensions of the box fan and sketch a detailed design to optimize space utilization. Secondly, cut the uprights and beams. Precisely cut the aluminum square tubes to the desired lengths for the uprights and beams using a suitable cutting tool. Ensure that all cuts are clean and square for proper assembly. Thirdly, assemble the uprights. Connect the square tubes vertically using angle brackets to form the uprights. Secure the angle brackets to the tubes with bolts and nuts, ensuring a rigid and stable structure. Fourthly, install the beams. Position the beams horizontally between the uprights at the desired shelf heights. Secure the beams to the uprights using bolts and nuts, ensuring that they are level and evenly spaced. Fifthly, create the shelves. Cut the plywood or metal sheets to the size of the shelves. Drill holes in the corners of each shelf to accommodate bolts for attachment to the beams. Sixthly, attach the shelves. Bolt the shelves to the beams, ensuring that they are level and secure. Use washers to distribute the load and prevent damage to the shelving material. The adjustability of the system allows for easy reconfiguration. Beams and shelves can be added or removed as needed to accommodate changing storage requirements. This flexibility ensures that the shelving system remains adaptable over time. Several additional considerations are important. Weight capacity is a critical factor. Ensure that the square tubes and beams selected can support the combined weight of the shelves and their contents. Overloading the system can lead to structural failure and potential hazards. Materials should be chosen carefully. Select materials that are durable, easy to clean, and resistant to moisture and corrosion. Aluminum, treated plywood, and coated metal are good choices for van environments. Ventilation is important, especially if storing temperature-sensitive items. Consider adding ventilation holes in the shelves to promote airflow and prevent the buildup of moisture or heat. Security measures can be implemented to protect the contents of the shelves. Install locking mechanisms or latches on the shelves to secure items during transit and deter theft. Accessibility is another key consideration. Plan the layout to ensure that all shelves are easily accessible for loading and unloading. Consider the placement of shelves relative to the van's doors and aisles. Selecting the correct materials is crucial for a long-lasting shelving system. Aluminum is lightweight and corrosion resistant, making it ideal for the frame. Different grades of aluminum offer varying strength, so choose one appropriate for the anticipated load. Plywood offers a good balance of strength and cost-effectiveness for the shelves. Marine-grade plywood is a good option for resisting moisture. Metal shelves, such as steel or aluminum, offer high strength and durability. However, they can be heavier and more expensive than plywood. When cutting the uprights and beams, precision is essential. Use a chop saw or metal cutting saw to ensure clean, square cuts. Accurate cuts will result in a more stable and professional-looking shelving system. Consider using a jig or guide to ensure consistent lengths and angles. Assembling the uprights requires careful alignment. Use a level to ensure that the uprights are plumb and square. Tighten the bolts and nuts securely, but avoid over-tightening, which can damage the aluminum tubes. Consider using thread locker to prevent the bolts from loosening over time. Installing the beams involves proper spacing and leveling. Use a level to ensure that the beams are horizontal. Space the beams appropriately to support the shelves and the anticipated load. Secure the beams to the uprights with bolts and nuts, ensuring a tight and rigid connection. Creating the shelves requires accurate measurements and cutting. Use a measuring tape and square to ensure that the shelves are the correct size and shape. Cut the shelves with a saw, ensuring clean and straight edges. Sand the edges of the shelves to remove any splinters or burrs. Attaching the shelves to the beams requires careful alignment. Position the shelves on the beams, ensuring that they are centered and level. Drill pilot holes through the shelves and into the beams to prevent splitting or damage. Secure the shelves to the beams with bolts and nuts, ensuring a tight and secure connection. Adjustability is a key advantage of the shelving system. Consider using slotted uprights or adjustable brackets to allow for easy repositioning of the shelves. This will enable you to customize the shelving system to accommodate different storage needs over time. The weight capacity of the shelving system is critical. Calculate the total weight that the shelves will need to support, including the weight of the shelves themselves and the contents they will hold. Choose aluminum tubes and beams that are strong enough to support this weight. Consider using thicker walled tubes or additional supports to increase the weight capacity. Material selection should also consider the van's environment. If the van will be exposed to moisture or harsh chemicals, choose materials that are resistant to corrosion and damage. Aluminum, stainless steel, and treated plywood are good options for these environments. Ventilation is important for preventing moisture buildup and mold growth. Consider adding ventilation holes to the shelves and the van itself to promote airflow. This will help to keep the contents of the shelves dry and free from damage. Security is a concern for many van owners. Consider installing locking mechanisms on the shelves to prevent theft or damage to the contents. You can also install a security system in the van to deter thieves. Accessibility is important for making the most of the shelving system. Consider the placement of the shelves in relation to the van's doors and aisles. Design the shelving system so that the items you need most frequently are easily accessible. You can also use dividers and organizers to keep the shelves tidy and organized. Building a custom shelving system for a box van can be a rewarding project. By carefully planning the layout, selecting the right materials, and following the assembly steps, you can create a shelving system that meets specific storage needs and enhances the functionality of the van. Remember to prioritize weight capacity, material durability, ventilation, security, and accessibility to ensure a safe, efficient, and long-lasting solution. Before starting the construction, it's helpful to create a detailed sketch or 3D model of the shelving system. This will allow visualizing the final product and make adjustments to the design before cutting any materials. Include all dimensions, shelf heights, and support locations in the drawing. A parts list that includes all the materials needed, such as aluminum tubes, plywood, brackets, bolts, nuts, washers, and any other hardware will help to organize the project and ensure that there are enough supplies. This list can be used to track purchases and manage the budget. When cutting the aluminum tubes, use a metal cutting blade or abrasive saw to ensure clean and accurate cuts. Dab the edges of the tubes after cutting to remove any sharp edges or burrs that could cause injury. Proper safety gear, including safety glasses and gloves, should be worn when cutting metal. When assembling the uprights, use a level to ensure they are plumb and square. This will prevent the shelving system from being wobbly or unstable. Secure the angle brackets to the tubes using bolts, nuts, and washers. Tighten the hardware securely, but avoid over-tightening, which could damage the tubes. When installing the beams, use a level to ensure they are horizontal. This will prevent items from sliding off the shelves. Space the beams evenly to distribute the weight of the contents. Secure the beams to the uprights using bolts, nuts, and washers. When cutting the shelves, use a circular saw or jigsaw to create clean and accurate cuts. Sand the edges of the shelves to remove any splinters or rough edges. Apply a finish to the shelves to protect them from moisture and wear. Polyurethane or varnish are good options. When attaching the shelves to the beams, use bolts, nuts, and washers to secure them in place. Position the shelves so that they are flush with the beams. Tighten the hardware securely, but avoid over-tightening, which could damage the shelves. If storing heavy items on the shelves, consider adding additional supports to the beams. This will help to prevent the beams from sagging or bending. The adjustable design allows for flexibility in storing different sized items. The height of the shelves can be changed as needed to accommodate different storage requirements. This is especially useful for storing items that vary in size. When choosing materials, select those that are durable and resistant to wear and tear. Aluminum is a good choice for the frame because it is lightweight, strong, and rust resistant. Plywood is a good choice for the shelves because it is strong and durable. Consider the weight capacity when planning the shelving system. The shelving system should be able to support the weight of all the items that will be stored on it. Distribute the weight evenly across the shelves to prevent overloading. Consider adding ventilation holes to the shelves to allow for airflow. This is especially important if storing items that are sensitive to moisture or temperature changes. Install locking mechanisms on the shelves to secure the contents. This is especially useful for storing valuable items or items that could be easily stolen. Plan the layout carefully to ensure that all shelves are easily accessible. Position the shelves so that they are within easy reach. Consider adding lighting to the shelving system to make it easier to see the contents. By following these steps, a custom and adjustable shelving system for the box fan can be built, maximizing storage space and keeping the van organized.